Hey everybody, this is the Slightest Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about a show that many people have forgotten about. In fact, I forgot about this show until I was on the actress Instagram page and I saw her. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember her from that show. Now this show takes me back all the way to 2000 or 2001, and that show is Fox Kids Los Luchadores. This show was unique. I like to call this show an anomaly, an enigma, if you will. Like, it's one of those shows that, like, you know how, like, Sharknado, when it first came out, people are like, oh my God, this is like the worst, craziest, like, cringiest thing I ever seen, and people hated it for that reason. But because of that, they end up liking it also for that same reason. And that's kind of how this show is. It's like, it's so cringy bad that you can't help but to kind of like it a little bit. But it's a bad show. But it's an entertaining, weird, bizarre kind of show, which makes it an anomaly. Now, this was a Canadian show that came out in 2000, late 2000, and then 2001. And it came on Fox Kids, and it was produced by Saban. Once again, it was one of Saban's attempts to like create his own Power Ranger show, but ended up failing. In fact, this was probably one of I wouldn't necessarily say like the worst, because I really didn't like Big Bad Beetleborgs like at all. But at least Big Bad Beetleborgs got 2 seasons. This one couldn't even make it to a full season order. It got canceled after 16 episodes. Now, what is this show? Los Luchadores. Well, the describe it is really think of Power Rangers meets the Adam West Batman series. That's basically what it really is. It's just a clone version of the Adam West Batman series. It's low budget, the special effects are bad, the costumes are very cheap, everything's brightly colored. You have your hero, who's like the Batman figure, you have the Robin figure, and you have the Batgirl figure. And you even have the Alfred figure and a Commissioner Gordon figure in the terms of a mayor. Now, this show centered around 3 main stars. The first one was Lobo Fretes. He is a Lucha Libre wrestler who is also a vigilante at night. And he is aided by his tag team partner and sidekick, Turbine. And then they're aided by an ally who, of course, is the Batgirl figure known as Maria Valentine. Boy, I crushed on this woman big time. I had no idea what she looked like underneath that mask, but I knew she had to be fine. And when I saw her without her mask in other projects, I was right. Boy, I think that's one of the main reasons why I kept watching this show. Other than the entertainment factor, it was mainly her. Like, you just had to tune in for her. Now, they were aided by like an Alfred type person. He wasn't their butler, but he basically just sat on the computer. They had a headquarters, and he sat on the computer and he talked to them on like the little mic and everything. And he would instruct them. He would do like the research and stuff like that. The actor who plays this dude, my God, every time you see this dude, he looked grumpy. You can tell he did not want to be on this show. Because you also know that Saban does not pay their actors very well whatsoever. However, when it comes to the Canadian shows, that was a little bit different. Because I talked to this one actress who was on another one of his shows, and they actually played them not necessarily well, but a whole lot better than the Power Ranger people. Now, the Alfred type dude, his name is, I'm gonna butcher this, Arthur Berg Harden, something like that. And yeah, he was just like the dude. He was like this Jamaican dude, Jamaican accent. I don't know if he was really Jamaican or not, but he would aid them like on the computer and stuff and do all their research, which really came in handy. Now, one thing that always was strange, okay, in their headquarters, when they would get in their vehicles, they would ride down the side of a building. How? Like, I don't know. Like, that's not even possible. Like, you're not able to do that. You're not able to drive down a building and then up a building. They never explained that. It's so weird. But their vehicles were actually pretty cool looking for the most part, but they didn't look like superhero vehicles. Lobo had a lowrider. I don't understand the whole Latino thing. If they wanted a Latino thing, why didn't they just get like actual Mexican people who actually do like wrestling and stuff? That don't make no sense. But yeah, he had like a lowrider, and it was purple with flames, and it had the symbol of his wolf. That was his symbol. Batman had the bat, he had the wolf. Turbine, his symbol is the supercharged engine. He rode a Harley Davidson motorcycle. That was just a typical motorcycle with flames on it. And whenever he wanted to go like super fast, he'll hit a button, and then all of a sudden the motorcycle will like transform into like a different version of a motorcycle. And for some reason, when it transformed, it had all these huge flames in the background, kind of like a Power Rangers transformation thing. And after it transforms, it would have like these flames come from the back, and he would go like at supersonic speed. Now Maria didn't have a vehicle for some bizarre reason. Like, they always treat the girls so wrong. Now Maria, she is the only one whose outfit constantly changed throughout every episode. And it will mostly be like pinks, reds, purples, and have like a heart pattern to it. Now on special missions, Lobo and Turbine will wear like these tactical suits that had all this padding and like all kind of stuff, and they were black. It never explained why exactly they wore those outfits. Another thing that's never been explained is why they became superheroes. Just like with the Adam West show, it was never ever explained. The main actor who played Lobo, Massimo Marino, I think that's how you say his name. He is actually an Argentine American actor, so at least he has like a little Latin in him and stuff like that. But I always thought he was like a white French dude because he always sounded French. Now the actor who plays Turbine, that's Levy James, and like, I remember his character. His character is like a cross between Robin and the Human Torch. Like, he had that type of Human Torch personality and stuff. Now Maria Valentine, she was played by Sarah Carter. And I remember I seen her in some other stuff. Like, the second thing I ever saw her in other than this was like Final Destination 2, and then that DOA movie they came out with, and then of course Smallville, where she played like Clark's love interest and stuff. Now, I remember one of the weirdest things is thinking to myself, why are all these white people like talking in Mexican slang and wrestling as lucha libre people? And yet they use so much like Hispanic slang. It's just weird. But I found out that the main actor, now in true lucha libre form, these people never take off their mask. Like, never. Like, you never see their true identity in the entire episode. You don't even know their real names and stuff. You just know them by their wrestling personas. And that's because in Lucha Libre wrestling, you have to keep on your mask when wrestling or out in certain public events. That is why Rey Mysterio is never allowed to take off his mask. I think he did it once in WCW and got in major trouble. Now, the basic premise of this show is simple. Is normally an episode will start off either they will be in action or they'll just be wrestling, And that's also one thing that kind of drew me in because at that time I was like getting back into wrestling. I had stopped after 10 years and I started again with the WWE. And so it was really fun just to see them wrestle on the show. And because Saban is super cheap, they had to do all their stunts themselves and rarely had a stunt double. Now, as for the fighting in this show, the wrestling isn't that great. Like it's not gonna be as good as you see like on like WWE or AEW or TNA. Like it's not gonna be like real wrestling. It's like TV, fake choreography, like doing the best they can. Even when they are doing the action stuff in their vigilante suits, it's like it's still not that great. Like the action is entertaining and it's kind of like fun, but it's not highly choreographed. Like say Power Rangers. Power Rangers had like really good choreographed fighting. Heck, even the Adam West show had better fighting than this show. Like you could be entertained by watching the Adam West fighting, but you just can't with like this show. It was just very low budget. Saban didn't want to put no money into this whatsoever. Now the villains in this were pretty weak. Like like this show came out in like the 2000s. I can't even call it like cheesy 90s because it didn't come out in the 90s. But when I say this show was low budget, like this show was low budget, it basically got Saban. You know, and it's like it's sad because Saban is a millionaire. And the thing about Saban is like his main goal when coming out with these kid shows like Power Rangers and stuff, he wants to entertain. He wants something for kids to watch, have a good time, not be scared, and just be entertained. And that's totally cool. That's why I respect him for that reason. The problem with him is that he goes overboard and he micromanages. Like when he comes up with alien characters or monster characters, it's the most hokiest crap ever. Like it's really old school black and white movie type stuff. Like aliens with bizarre names like Zotron and just like there's just the strangest stuff ever. It's just like he needs to make it more realistic and more mature. But the villains in this are some of the hokiest things I've ever seen. My God. Like the main villain, who's almost in every single episode, is called the Whelp. Now, I can't quite remember. Either he was a mad scientist who used to mix the DNA with humans and animals, or he was like just a villain dude, but I'm pretty sure he was the scientist dude. And somehow something happened to where his brain got mixed with that of a little dog. One of those little what them thing called a chia dog? No, what them thing called? Chihuahua. That's it, Chihuahua. Yeah, the dude brain got stuck in the Chihuahua, and it's like it was the most bizarre thing I ever saw on TV. You would literally see people with the pillow holding up this teeny tiny dog with a mask on his face, and he was the main super villain. And then to get his revenge and want to fight the heroes, he would wear this giant robotic mech suit. And it was like the suit was so stiff the actor couldn't even move in it. And I felt bad for this dog. The dog had to have been terrified. And yeah, when it comes to like the whelp, he talks in a very stereotypical Mexican Chihuahua type voice. It's kind of like the one from Taco Bell commercials. And I'm pretty sure the person who's playing him is white, which makes this even more problematic. Now, going back to villains, I forgot to talk about that. Now, they had for the most part, like I said, the villains were like the whelp. And he had like these women henchmen called the Wepettes and stuff like that. And his main goal was just trying to like take over the world type thing, stuff like that. Other villains, like the whelp, he would make like these robots that look like Maria Valentine, so he had to fight her own clone. They had aliens, demons, stuff like that, but they rarely showed up because it was only 16 episodes, and mostly the whelp took up every episode. So like there was this alien episode where These aliens, for some bizarre reason, wanted Lobo to wrestle in space. Why? Like, I don't know. Then there was this other episode. I forget what it was about. It's like this pyramid type episode where these aliens came down. I think they were trying to like take kids from summer camp or something like that. And I think they ended up trying to like capture like a blind kid or something like that. There's this one episode with this really gorgeous like scientist lady. She's a huge Lobo fan. And she mistakenly drinks spider venom, which of course turns her in and gives her spider powers. Now, what's unique about her spider powers is when she webs people, it puts them in a cocoon. And when they hatch from the cocoon, they look like this little monstery green looking thing. And her costume was, oh my God, it was terrible. It was terrible. It was terrible. It was terrible. Saban is so cheap. Now there was this one scientist dude with a half lizard face. I forgot about him. He actually might have been the whelp before the whelp turned into that chihuahua. Now, even though this show was pretty corny and pretty cheesy, I remember just thinking to myself, God, this is just like the wacky. I watched some wacky stuff, you know what I'm saying, growing up. And I was like 18 when this show came out. So I was getting to that point where I was getting very mature. And Power Rangers was about to shift on over to Disney. And, it was just like, and Power Rangers was getting more mature towards that time. Like all the camping and stuff had gone. They were getting more serious. And so then I watched this show and I'm just like, this is cornier than Power Rangers. Like it is. I don't want to like rag on this show, but it was super corny, cheesy. Like, ah, it's really hard. Like even the Ninja Turtle Saban show was better than this. And that was pretty cheesy. And it's just, this show had the potential to be really good. But because Saban is super cheap, this show just like faded away to where people have literally asked themselves, did I imagine this show up? Does it really exist? Now you can catch some episodes on YouTube. Now my favorite episode out of all this like 16 episodes is probably the one, The Mask of Diablo Azul. That is probably my all-time favorite because just the story of it was actually pretty good. It was pretty entertaining. It was pretty solid. Um, and it was probably the darkest episode of the entire series, but it wasn't dark, scary dark. It was like dark for kids, Even a Goosebump episode probably more darker than this. But yeah, it was like darker for what this show tried to do when Saban gave them limitations of being like cheesy. Okay, so the episode starts off when the three heroes, they're getting their masks touched up by this one dude. And they actually take off their mask, but they do it off screen, so you still can't see their faces at all. And so at some point, he gets attacked by like this robber type dude. And this dude, he makes masks, he has all kind of masks. He has this one mask that is possessed by a demon. Diablo Azul. Now, Diablo, I believe, is devil for in Mexican or something like that, or demon, one of those two. And basically, whoever touches this mask and looks into it, they get automatically possessed by Azul. And so then they are compelled to put it on. And when they do, their skin turns like a bluish, demonic type color. So, of course, he's wreaking havoc, and Lobo and Turbine have to try to stop him. And as they're fighting him and everything, Turbine is able to like rip his mask off, but it's hard because the mask will not come off. And there's all this like electrical lightning and stuff like that. And when he rips it off, he looks into it. Uh-oh. So of course he gets possessed. And Lobo is heartbroken because this is his partner and stuff. However, when it possesses Turbine, unlike the man, this thing changes in form. It has like horns and stuff like that. He is fully possessed to the part now where he has demonic powers. He can teleport places. He has super strength. He can possess other people, like just all kind of. He can make things move, like all kind of stuff. And so as Lobo and the one dude's doing like research, they determine that it's this staff that Diablo Azul has, and it makes him even more powerful. Turbine shows up on the computer screen and is able to like do all kind of freaky demon stuff through the computer screen, and he literally tries to kill them by crushing them with the car. So at some point, Diablo Azul, he heads to like the arena and he starts possessing people, and one of those people is Maria Valentine. So Lobo suits up in his stealth suit and he goes to fight like his partner, which he does not want to have to do. And it's actually a pretty cool fight sequence. Like Lobo has to take on all of like the hench people that's been possessed, and of course Diablo. And of course when he's fighting the hench people, one of them is Maria Valentine. After Lobo defeats all of the hench people, he goes for Diablo. And they struggle and they fight on the ground. And he's trying his best. And then with the staff, Diablo is trying to like kill him. And then Lobo is trying to speak from his heart to Turbine, telling him, you know, we're partners. We've been through too much together. You have to fight this. And it's actually working. His words are getting through to Turbine inside to where Diablo is starting to lose control, but not full control. So then, as they're struggling on the ground, Lobo is desperately trying to rip the mask off of Turbine's face, and he does. Turbine is saved. All the hench people have turned back to normal, and then everything is just like hunky dory. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.